phonics links phoneme and grapheme. So phoneme is the relationship, in a way, deals with the relationship between sound and letter. Okay. So what phonics instruction does is it teaches children the relationships between the letters, that is grapheme, letters or letter pairs, okay, of written language and the individual sounds, so phonemes of spoken language. Okay. So phonics instruction is kind of like given different name, like phonics, you can say the relationship, in order to show that there are different names given, like graphophonemic relationship, letter sound associations, letter sound correspondences, sound symbol correspondences, sound spellings. Okay. So the different names given to that. Okay. So the whole idea is it's a relation between the sound and the letter, right? The letter of the alphabet and the sound it produces. Right. So this is phonics. So there are actually different approaches to teaching of phonics. Okay. So the four major, you can say, approaches to phonics instruction is something I have given here. Okay. Synthetic, analytic, analogy-based, embedded. Okay. So synthetic is, you can say, more structured and direct. Okay. And then you have analytic, analogy based is a branch of analytic phonics, and then you have embedded. So the relation is kind of like synthetic is something, you can say synthetic phonics is more direct and structured but least contextualized because it is taught in isolation. The phonemes are taught in isolation. But here in embedded, okay, it's you can say least structured but more contextualized. It's taught in context, but it's not structured. Okay. So a different research paper, research article says that it's important to have a structured and systematic way of introducing, you can say, phonics. Phonics instructions should be, you can say, structured and you can say explicit rather than being implicit. Okay. So in that way, synthetic is the, you can say, the approach that needs to be chosen, but that doesn't mean that you need to overlook this. Once you have introduced this, taught all the, you can say, phonemes and the different, you can say, sequences, you can have all this, okay, whenever required. Okay, four major approaches, like I told you: synthetic, analytic, analogy-based phonics, and then embedded phonics. I'll just discuss synthetic phonics and then we will carry on with the remaining in our next session. Okay, most direct and structured phonemes to words. Okay, so in phonemic awareness, you have noticed, right? Phonemes to words. So it applies in this way. Blending and building approach. What you do is you blend the phonemes and build. Okay, phonemes and graphemes taught in isolation, separate. Like when you teach, so in that way, I just find the sound wave program one kind of synthetic phonics, okay? Because you have the, you can say, the sounds are taught in isolation, and then you have a sort of blending is there, and then you link it with graphemes, the letters, and then gradually it moves to building of vocabulary and then reading comprehension as well. Okay. So different approaches. So Jolly Phonics is also one approach of teaching phonics. Okay, like we have sound wave program. So there are different approaches. So one approach is the whole language approach, which is, I think, kind of usually the research papers and all this consider this as outdated. So embedded is one of that whole language approach, where everything is contextualized, like the sight word. We don't, you can say, follow a sort of sequence. So teachers teach whenever there's a teachable moment, reference to the context, whenever the word appear in a book. So we will discuss about this later on. So synthetic phonics is least contextualized. When we talk about In reference to context, it is least contextualized, but it is most direct and structured. So synthetic phonics is also called direct phonics. Okay, so I think we will better stop here. You might be